People have often been asked the question, what if you were black? What if you were a woman? These are issues of being an outsider. Give us all some advice on what it's like to be an outsider and how to handle that in life.
I am not Steve Martin. I was not born a poor black child in somewhere, wherever that, what's the name of that movie he was in? The Jerk, yeah. I was born a poor black child, whatever. That's not me. I'm a product, literally, of the 60s. My mom and dad, I was the number 4 kid of 5. I was born in 1957, grew up for about 8 years in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and then my mom and dad brought us out to Montana after my dad got his doctorate degree. So I grew up in Marshmallow, Montana. Not a lot of black people around, except for Jamie Thompson, who was my pal. But Jamie died between our junior and senior year in high school. We were at a really cool place called the Fire Hole in Yellowstone Park, and we were jumping off the cliffs into the warm water. One of the places we would jump would be about a 40, 50-foot drop, but you had to jump out to get away from an underwater cleft that was sticking out about 5 feet, 6 feet. So you had to jump out to clear it. I came home because I was tired, I was hot, I was cooked, and then about 9 o'clock at night is when I found out that Jamie had not jumped out too far enough, and he died. That all said, I am a product of the 60s. It was crucial in my family that we respected women, because I was raised by a militant feminist mom. One of my first memories of my mom being my mom was taking me up to the University of Minnesota campus to burn her bra because of the Vietnam War protest and being a feminist. I still have the emblem today as a patch that I was given that came from a group called War Is Not Healthy. Anybody remember this? For women. Nobody remembers this at all? Children and other living things. They were the ones that went around and showed people what it was like to be a POW. They would give you the little rice ball that the prisoners of Vietnam were having. That was a rice ball was all they got to eat for the day. And they were showing what it was like to be a prisoner of war for the Viet Cong. But along with respecting women, I was taught to respect people. I was raised colorblind. I knew Jamie was a black kid, but it never really dawned on me that he was a nigger, that he was Jungle Bunny, I think. Is that right? Spear chucker, stuff like that. Didn't know any of that stuff. Didn't get it until I was probably 22 or 23. And something that's really crucial, and I've done most of my life, you have to know who you are. You have to know what you stand for. And you have to be willing to stand up and say, you know what? That's not right. And totally follow through with it. What I mean, I'm in Minneapolis. I'm driving around because I would always get into a new city. I had my 69 Impala 2-door, big boat of a car, used a lot of gas. I bought a map of the city of Minneapolis. I'm driving around, getting the lay of the land because there are no mountains in Minneapolis. All you got is, at that time, the IDS Tower standing up tall downtown Minneapolis as a somewhat of a landmark. So I had to figure out where I was going and stuff like that. and I'm getting low on gas. So I pull into a gas station, which turns out to be short northeast Minneapolis, which if you're a white kid, that's not where you're supposed to be. If you're alone and you're a white kid, definitely not alone, definitely not want to be there. And it's at night, which I have all 3 strikes against me. But I'm a happy-go-lucky, rather rambunctious tall kid, so I got some beef on me and some muscle, and I'm trying to figure out how to make the gas pump work. And it's the first time I came across that you have to pay before you pump, which didn't make sense to me. And so I walk into the gas station, and I'm talking to the guy behind this glassed window, going, wow, really? I'd never seen anything like that before. He's barricaded behind the counter. And I talked to him, and it's a black man behind there. And I said, dude, I can't get this thing to work. And he looked at me with this smile. He said, you're not from around here, are you? Huh? Doesn't make sense. After a couple minutes of the conversation, he said, take a look around. There's about 6 other people. And I'm the first time in my life, I'm a minority. And it dawned on me, I might not be in a good place. But do you think I cared? I was raised not to care. Because I thought everybody liked me as much as I liked them. So I was just assuming. I'm not saying that's a really good way of life, but it is a good way to go through life. And I got through that situation fine. And they were just having as much fun with me as I was having with them, which is I learned what pay before you pump means. I learned that I may need to pay a little bit more attention to where I am in life as I'm going through life. And just because I know where I'm going doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to end up in the destination I want to be at. I need to pay attention. I wasn't paying attention. I was 23. No, I wasn't even 23. I was 22, maybe. So I had to learn to pay attention. The next thing I want to have you all understand is that the friends that you have are crucial. Because your friends rub off on you. And I was hanging out with some people, riding my motorcycle around Minneapolis. I was really having fun. And there's this one married couple that were probably 10 years older than me that I really enjoyed. And I liked them because they had a cool motorcycle. They got along well. They had a good interaction with each other. They enjoyed each other. I was learning some things from them. And it was probably 4 or 5 months into this relationship. We were out riding around what was called the lakes. There's like Lake of the Isles, Lake Calhoun, and Lake Harriet, and one other lake. And we just ride around there because it was fun. It's during the late summer, which is a really good time to ride bikes, motorcycles around Minneapolis, and it was hot, it was humid, it was buggy. So we stopped where I lived, which was like a half a block off of Lake of the Isle, and we're getting some water. So we're letting the bikes cool down. We're just talking at the dining room table. My friend who lives with me, Jeff Ruger, little Jewish guy, came in, sat down, talked, and left. And I watched these people get pensive around Jeff. Didn't make sense. Jeff left. They looked at me and they said, we want you to understand something so you kind of get what we're talking about, that we are Nazis. We believe in Nazism. Do y'all understand what that means? It's 1980. I had no clue what that meant. All I understood was when they said Nazi, I hear Heil Hitler in my ears. I get revulsion immediately going through my body. I wasn't paying attention still enough to my surroundings. I had let those people into my life. Jeff Ruger still today, over 30 plus years, is still my friend. I still talk to him probably twice a month. I love that man. And I brought two people into our house that wanted to do him harm. Is that on them? Or is it on me? I immediately looked at them in my little stiff-necked personality that I could best muster up. I said, you know what? You need to leave. And we're not friends anymore. It took me a little bit to get them to understand just how much I meant of that. And I really encourage you all, because you're a lot older than I was at that time in my early 20s, to take a look at yourself and take a look at the nooks, the crannies, the crevices of your life, because those little blood-sucking parasites are in you, even today. Even in me today, it still happens. I allow things to slide by. I allow things to just be what they are and be a speed bump in my life and not understand the ramifications that that has. It's that little pebble into a still pond. It creates ripples. You need to know what's going on around you. And pay attention to that, because it rubs off on you. It makes you who you are. I want to be the guy that stands tall. My mission is to remain married to my wife until I die. And I know my wife, after 20-some years of marriage, we'll be married 23 years here in a little bit, loves me. And that's awesome. And I'm very grateful for that blessing. But I need her to like me. By standing tall, she will learn and stay and be able to like me. My kids need to respect me. They need to understand that I will be there. I will have their back. I will be the dad that if they call, I will come. But I also need to understand that if they're married, I'm going to be the one that says you need to pay attention to your spouse more than you need to pay attention to me, because you're married. So be the person that's going to stand tall. I hope I helped you a little bit with what I got through to and got a chance to talk on. So thanks y'all for listening as well as you have.